Hello and welcome to the Mindset Coach podcast, the show where coaches and coaches-to-be tune in to learn how to integrate mindset coaching tools and neuroscience-based techniques into their practice and grow and scale a coaching business they love. Each week, I'll be sharing easy-to-implement tips, case studies, and business strategies that you can use right away to transform your own mindset and the mindset of those you coach. I'm your host, Lara Young, founder of the Mindset Coach Academy, author of 52 Adventures to Change Your Life, award-winning business owner, coach, and coach trainer. Tune into this podcast each Friday, free on all the podcasting apps, and click to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And remember, mindset is everything. Hello and welcome to Series 2 of the Mindset Coach podcast. It's the very first episode for 2022. I'm Lara Young and I'm so delighted to be here with you. It's been such a year of change, hasn't it, in our lives, in our businesses, in the world in general. We've been navigating so many things that have come up that have been unexpected, and I think it's really led us to make different choices about where we want to be in our lives and what we want to do in terms of our careers as well. And certainly I know that's true for me. You can hear through my accent, I'm guessing that you can hear that I'm Australian. And so one of the big changes that's happened for me and my family in the last 6 months is that I took the decision very early in 2021 to move back to Australia from the UK, where I lived for 20 years. So it was no small decision, but it was a decision that was really important for me to make at this stage in my life and at this stage in my parents' lives and the lives of my wider family, because with COVID, it's impacted everyone, hasn't it? I used to be able to know that if something happened to anyone at home back in Australia, then, I could be on a plane, I could book an air ticket, book a flight, get the girls and I on the plane and be home within, 48 or 72 hours. And COVID really took that away from us, that ability to navigate the world through travel. I mean, obviously we're navigating really effectively through technology and, we're still able to communicate really well with one another. But just being able to have that physical presence is something that was certainly not certain. And not having seen my family for 2.5 years, I made the decision that I wanted to be back. I wanted the girls to spend more time face-to-face with their grandparents and, that I wanted to be here and really just be able to start a life here in Australia, surrounded by good weather and beaches and all those great things that people associate Australia with, but most importantly with my family, and been very, very lucky. So we flew back. We had 3 flight cancellations actually trying to get back, and we ended up being very lucky to get on a repatriation flight with Qantas. We flew into Darwin, which is at the top end of Australia, for those of you who don't know. And we flew into the Howard Springs quarantine facility where we stayed for 2 weeks, 14 days. And that was an experience that I think we'll always remember. The girls and I packed 3 suitcases. One of them was full of games and activities and toys to keep us all amused for that 2-week period. And then we flew down to Sydney from Darwin, and we had the delight and surprise that we'd been upgraded. Flights had been upgraded to business class for that flight. So that was a lovely treat after 2 weeks of being in quarantine. 2 weeks in quarantine in Howard Springs in Darwin actually was a pretty good experience. I mean, you could leave your room. We had a veranda on what they call the dongas, the huts that we were in. So you could be on your veranda, which was great. And so we had far more freedom, I think, than some people have experienced when they have repatriated back to Australia and, have had to quarantine in hotel environments. We were very lucky with, the food was great. We had great company as well. We could talk to our our fellow quarantinees across the veranda, and we met some lovely people. We'd have quiz nights and sing-alongs and things like that to keep ourselves entertained. But it was certainly a delight then when we got into the Qantas business class lounge and we were able to go a bit mad on the snacks. And I tell you what, I had more than one glass of champagne coming out of quarantine in that airport lounge before we headed back to Sydney. And then when, of course, we did land and we came back, we came up. I've got two sisters and a brother. So we came up and we stayed with one of my sisters, and just so lucky, got back on the Sunday, and then on the Monday, in a very, very hot rental housing market, ended up finding a house to rent, which is 2 minutes and 45 seconds walk from my sister's, which, yes, I timed it, which is pretty incredible. So we've been very lucky. And I've also managed to, get a car, and the girls' school is 10 minutes walk away. So it's been a really lovely transition. And it's also been, a test of mindset, definitely. And I've certainly been employing all of those skills with myself and with my children in making this move back. Of course, there was, that we've been experiencing some loss around missing our friends in the UK. And, we are very much still navigating the newness. Even though I am Australian, being away for 20 years, it is a little bit of a culture shock being here. It's a positive shock, but there are some things that, I've had to be navigating, and the girls have been navigating as well. And we're here and we are enjoying it, and really enjoying being able to be outside, go to the beach really regularly, go kayaking, and all of those wonderful things. Still, of course, navigating COVID. We have Omicron here now, and the infection rates are pretty high. I don't know how they are where you're in the world, which means, of course, that we're in summer school holidays here. And what that means is that childcare doesn't exist. So I'm, again, running my business in this environment with limited time. But as we know, everyone, it's absolutely possible to get a lot done in a small amount of time when you're focused and you act with intention and volition. So we think about 2022 and your plans, and it's also given me pause to think about what's happening with my business, the Mindset Coach Academy, and the programs that we offer. So, of course, we have the coach certification. We also are running a standalone hypnotherapy practitioner program, and we've got the Coaches Success Accelerator going. And I've been looking at all of those things, and also looking at the integration of that with Mindset Dimensions Report, which, of course, is a comprehensive diagnostic tool, mindset diagnostic, that we've created specifically for coaches to measure all those key elements of mindset. So beliefs, behaviors, emotional frequency, values, how we talk to ourselves, all of those things in a comprehensive report. And it's great because my co-founder of the Mindset Dimensions Report, Dr. Trish Kemp, lives in Sydney. So it means that we're close to each other and we can work together as well. And that's something I'm pretty excited about doing. So one of the things I know that is important, and actually I've been focusing on this week, is really about creating that blueprint for success for the year. And what are all those ingredients that you need to be thinking about when it comes to business success, but also your personal success, right? For me, those two are very much sort of intertwined. And whenever I start the year, I think about, what do I intend to do, be, and have, both in the context of my home and family life and my personal life, and in the context of my work. And this week specifically, we've been looking at, the vision that you have for a coaching practice, and how do you articulate that, and how do you really go through that thought work that at the end of the day is going to help you to make incredibly good and positive strategic decisions in your business. I think for us as coaches and consultants and therapists, often, as they say, the shoemaker's children are never shod. And, what that means is that I find that a lot of the coaches that I train and work with, and, even myself, there can be a bit of a delay in terms of actually creating those plans and creating that vision and taking that step back and that step up for a helicopter view of our businesses, and really doing a review of the year just gone and then thinking about what the year ahead is. And I think this time last year I did a podcast episode all about, creating that vision and that plan. And I think there's another step, isn't there, which is really around, why are you a coach? And thinking to yourself, well, why am I doing what I'm doing? And really getting into some detail around that. And what is the impact that you want to make on your clients? What is the impact that you want to make on the world? And then also thinking about, well, what does this actually do for me and my family? How does being a coach really fulfill my vision? I think it's interesting because a lot of us go into business because we do want that level of greater flexibility, that level of greater control over our own destiny when it comes to working. And, we start off very, very optimistically and with intentions of perhaps not working evenings or weekends and, having that day off in the week. And oftentimes what happens is that we can find ourselves in the busyness of work and really not ending up satisfying the desires, the goals, the dreams we had for ourselves when we started our businesses in the first place. So how does that look? I mean, it may be, for you, it may be that you do have those times ring-fenced, that you're very good at setting your boundaries. Or it may be perhaps that you found that time does get away from you, that you are spending more time than you had initially anticipated working on your business. So when you're thinking about your vision for your business, it's important to think about, okay, well, what actually the work that I'm doing, and you can even do a time and motion study on yourself, what are the things that you're actually doing in your business, and are they making a difference? Is the time that you're spending productive time or non-productive time? Is the time that you're spending really going towards you creating that contribution, making that difference, and making that impact that you want to make in the world? Or is there a whole lot of busyness and unnecessary tasks that you're engaging in, hello social media, that maybe you don't really need to? And maybe perhaps it's a distraction or it's a habit that you've gotten into that you recognize that you need to change in order that you can have that focus, that dedication, and be taking that action to really moving your business forward in a way that really fulfills you, fulfills what your goals and vision are, helps your clients get results, right? So you're getting really good testimonials. You're feeling that inner sense of satisfaction and joy that comes when your clients do make a transformation. But that you're also then having that time to go for a swim in the middle of the day, or to go to the gym, or to just chill out and do nothing, to pursue further education, to read the books you've always wanted to read. So I want you to think about that when you're thinking about your vision and how much of your vision is actually a reality at the moment. And then, think about what's it going to be like a year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. Like, where do you see yourself being in your practice? What are all the things that are happening for you? And what are all the contributions you've made? What are the achievements that you've accomplished along the way? And do spend time doing that, and do it as well in the context of, how does your personal life run alongside that? What are all those things that you have wanted to achieve in your personal life as well? And how do they map out, and how are you allowing time? How is your business allowing you time to actually achieve those things and make those things a reality? Want to learn more about how you can become a certified mindset coach? Head on over to our website, www.mindsetcoachacademy.com/coach certification, and you'll find all the information that you need, along with a button to book a call with me to talk about how you can become the best coach you can be. One of the things that I've come to realize is that, I am someone who, I like being busy. and there's a sort of inherent, if I'm taking a break, if I'm sitting down, I'm thinking, well, what can I be doing? What can I be doing now? And that could be, putting a load of washing on, or I don't know, sorting through the mail or whatever. It could be work related. And this year I'm really committing to taking that step back and that step up as well. So taking that step back from feeling like, in order for me to be adding value, I have to be busy all the time. And for me, that's a complex equivalence that was created really young, like all our beliefs are, right? All those limiting decisions created in that imprint stage very early on. But I seem to have equated being busy with being of value, right? Or not being busy of being lazy. Like, what are you doing? There must be something you can get on and do. And, my mother is a very, very dynamic woman who worked with the Aboriginal community here in Australia for many years, and very passionate and very involved politically and always on the go, little dynamo. And I think I kind of picked it up from her, and I've spoken to my sister about it as well, that, we always are, we're pretty active, right? We're always doing something. And this year I really am taking that pause to say, do I need to be doing this right now? And what can I outsource? And so, in fact, my vision is moving on this year, in terms of my business and, solidifying those offers that we have out there and the exceptional training that we provide and the research and development that we're doing through the Mindset Dimensions report, that I'm actually out there and doing more of the things where I add value in the training and putting new ideas and contributing and leading the conversation around mindset, rather than in the day-to-day sort of minutiae of work. And for me, what that means is that I have hired a full-time VA. In addition to, I have a brilliant sort of part-time VA at the moment, and I have someone amazing who's just come on board and who is put this podcast together for us, which is awesome. And that, to me, I'm relieved already. Now, my person doesn't actually start until the 24th of February, which is a little way from here. I think it's about 6. I'm counting down the days. I should have a timer, actually. So they'll be working with me in my own time zone from 8 till 4, which for me is absolute bliss. I cannot wait. And the other thing that I've done only last week was to bring someone in who is helping me with housekeeping and general household admin. And it's only, it's 3 hours a week, but the difference it makes to me in my life, my energy and my emotional state and everything is just incredible. It's priceless, really. So there are a couple of decisions that I've made, and that, I know that I'm priming myself to kind of, relinquish some of that control so I can step up. And it's interesting, but I wonder whether there's something like that you can be doing in your life as well. We also, want to think about, so when we think about the vision, you also want to think about building credibility in your coaching business as well. So what are all those skills and qualifications and experiences that you have that you bring to the table that maybe you're not really utilizing or weaving into the work that you do, the messaging? We've all got these very rich and varied histories and backgrounds and, capabilities that we can bring to the table in our coaching practices. And, I very much believe in that triad between coaching and consulting, which is the piece where you bring in those skills and experience into your practice, so that when your clients hire you, and they really do, I think, want a trusted advisor as much as I think the days of, someone saying you saying to a client, well, what do you think you should do in this situation? Good question. But I think that almost those days are over. I think people want more than that. It's kind of like, well, I'm paying you to help me. We can Google just about anything. And I think that relationship is shifting. People are expecting more from coaching than perhaps they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And the other arm to that, so there's the coaching piece, the consulting piece, where you bring all those things in that make you credible, right? Some of those things, the qualifications, et cetera, and the experience, but also that therapeutic element as well, which is really about helping people to recognize those patterns that they've been repeating, those behaviors, those emotions that keep re-emerging for them. And then using therapeutic intervention, holistic therapies like timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, EFT, to help people release themselves and to heal from the past, release themselves from those patterns, learn the lessons, and really to move on. So when it comes to your credibility as a coach, of course, the other thing that then gives you credibility is your ability to help your clients get results. Your clients come to you for a reason. They come to you because they have a problem or they're in a situation and they want a solution. They want their life to be different. They want their business to be different. They want their emotional state to be different. So there's so many different things that your clients look to you for in terms of, creating that change and having that change. And too often I find that coaches are ill-equipped in skills and knowledge to actually be able to help them to create that transformation, to be able to help them to move forward and achieve the things that they want to do. And so really, your credibility does come in helping your clients to get those results and make those transformations. The other thing you need to be thinking about this year as well is making money and whether or not what you're doing is generating the revenue that you want and the profitability that you want in your business. And, maybe there are some different ways that you can be structuring your programs and your services and your offerings in order to be able to do that and to make those really sound strategic decisions around your customer journey and your pricing models. We're going to be exploring these things in future episodes. And also then to think about your coaching toolkit. What are all the skills and tools that you have at your disposal when it comes to coaching? And are there gaps in that? Are there things where you really need to perhaps add some more knowledge and add some more techniques to your repertoire so that you do have a toolkit that is comprehensive, that encompasses work that you can help create change with people around the conscious and the unconscious and the unconscious level, so that it is really embedded and that that it is permanent and it does last. And the final thing, that we're focusing on, and I think it's important to think about, is stepping into that identity as a coach. And who are you as a coach? And what are you? What's your environment like? What are your skills and capabilities? What are your beliefs as a coach? What are your values? What's important to you? And again, going back and circling back to that purpose and that wider vision. So there are lots of things to be, to be thinking about. And we go into this a lot more detail in the Coaching Success Blueprint, which is something that a workshop series that I've been running in my Facebook group, the Mindset Coach Collective. And, it's really powerful to ask yourself these questions. And if you are listening and you'd like a copy of the workbook for that and to access the videos, please do just drop me a comment and I'll be more than happy to share those with you. So 2022, it's a great opportunity for us to, get started, think about things differently and, invigorate ourselves for achieving what we want to achieve in our business and making that contribution. And it's also a time where we can, think about ourselves and having that adventure and getting out of our own comfort zones and doing things a little differently. And I'm going to help you with that in this series, because several years ago now, I ran a challenge over the course of a couple of years, and it was called 52 Adventures to Change Your Life. And I took that challenge, which I'd run in a couple of Facebook groups, and I turned it into a book. Funnily enough, the book's called 52 Adventures to Change Your Life. And so this series, what we're going to do is we're going to each week at the end of the episode, I'll be sharing with you an adventure for you to take part in that week. And then drop your comments, let me know how your adventure went. So the very first adventure in 52 Adventures to Change Your Life is to write a letter to your future self. So it's to write a letter to your future self. Now, this letter is, you're writing it to the you that is at New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2022. And I want you to write the letter, and I want you to describe everything that you've achieved this year. What is your life like? Where are you living? What are all the accomplishments? What goals have you achieved this year? And I want you to make this letter a really rich, vivid sensory experience. Really immerse yourself, visualize yourself on the 31st of December, 2022, whatever you normally do on New Year's Eve, whether you're at a party or you're at home, whatever you're doing, I want you to envisage all the things, all the amazing things that you've achieved this year. And I want you to write that down as though it's already happened. And I want you to write this letter to yourself with love and intention and positivity. And then what I want you to do is I want you to seal it up. If you're writing it in freehand, seal it up and just pop it away somewhere. And put a reminder on your phone of where you've popped it. Put a calendar entry on the 31st of December, 2022 to go and open the letter with directions as to where you've put it. Or you could also use an online application like futureme.org, where you can actually write the letter to yourself as an email, and then it will email it to you on that date. And that just really sets you up in an incredible frame of thinking with intention and visualizing what an incredible year 2022 is going to be for you as you set and achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. That wraps up this episode of the Mindset Coach podcast. I really look forward to you tuning in. If you've enjoyed the episode, please do share it with your friends, people that you know will be interested. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of the Mindset Coach podcast. Remember to join us next week for another episode and subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a review if you've loved it. Share it with your friends. And I really look forward to learning how you're implementing the tools and techniques that you're learning here. Mindset is everything.